Hi, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Musawwir Maqsood, and in this video we are gonna cover Hive database integration into a Flutter project. As you can see, Hive is a lightweight database which is based on key value, and it is purely written in Dart language, and it is no SQL database. In my previous video, I have covered SQLite integration. SQLite is an SQL database, which means you can use transaction batches in that, and all the other SQL related queries you can use in SQLite package. So if you want that, you can watch my previous video, and in this video we will cover Hive database. So for that, let's come to the code editor, and as you can see, I have opened a project which already have different classes and different folders, because this is the same project which I have used for SQLite integration. So we have core class where we have this constant file, it's all related to SQLite database. Then we have dependency injection. Under database we have database service class, where we actually initialize our SQLite database, and then we have user database helper class, where we implement all the CRUD operations for a user class using SQL database. And under model we have user model, and under view we have our UI, which have mainly two screens. This is the first screen which display when we open our app, and it shows list of users, and you can delete user from there. And then there is another page which we use for add and update user information. And we're going to use the same project. It means we will have, under this database folder, we're going to have another file which will implement same functions or operations using Hive database. But because we want to use two data sources, so before going into the Hive implementation, I would like to do some code refactoring so that our app becomes more flexible for any new data source. Currently we are using directly this user database helper class, but now we are gonna create an interface, and then this class will implement that user database helper interface, and the Hive database class will implement the same interface as well. So for that we have to let's go to database again, and here we have to create an interface. So we'll say user database helper interface dot. So in Dart language we have abstract keyword for creating an interface, the user database helper interface, because we have already wrote all the function in this user database helper class. So we'll use that and simply copy all the method, and we can use same method over here. Before that we have to import this user class, and now we have to remove all body descriptions, because in abstract class we need only abstract functions. So now we have our user database helper interface with all the function which we need. Now simply go into this class and implement user database helper interface, and we have to add override above all methods, and then we have to go to our UI part, and here we have to replace these classes with our interface class. I'm going to simply copy this and paste into this class as well. We have to import it. Now remove this unused code from both classes, and we are done with our code refactoring. And add Hive database into this project. So let's go to perspect.yaml file, and here we have to add two dependencies. So run flutter pub add hive and hive underscore flutter. and this should add, of course, here these are dependencies which we need for this Hive database integration. Now let's go to main.dart file, and here before setup dir we need to initialize Hive database. For that we have to import hive underscore flutter package, and then we can call init flutter function, and don't forget to put a wait here as well. Now we can use Hive database. So let's go to this database folder, and here we have to create a new file, user database helper class, actually user database helper dot Hive database helper dot actually, and then we have to create class user Hive database helper class, and this class will implement user helper database interface, and we have to override all 5 missing methods. And Hive database works with boxes, so we have to open box. So for that, let's just create 2 boxes, user box and id box. So for box we have to import this Hive package, and let's say this is a user box, and we can also provide the value type we want to store in this box. So we need a map of string and dynamic, and we need another box for id, so it will be of type integer, and we'll call this id box. And we have to initialize these boxes, so we'll do that through a constructor, user Hive database helper class. And let's just make this a required parameterized constructor. So this dot user box, and then required this dot id box. So now we have our boxes here, so we can implement methods actually. So user box dot delete. So box actually has these methods like delete, get, and put. So for delete we have to provide here key, which will be this id, and as you can see this function return a future void, but our function return a bool. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna wrap this into a try catch block and simply put this in a try block. And because this return a future, so we have to make this async and put a wait here. Then we're gonna return true if everything work fine. If there is any error, then we're gonna return false. That's it for delete user. Then for get user, we're gonna use again get method. So user box dot get, and here we're gonna pass the id, and this get method will return a map, but our function return a user instance. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna return not required, we're gonna return user dot from JSON, and because this is a JSON, so we can pass it here, and we have to make this function async as well, and that's it. Now for get users, we're gonna use user box dot values, and again we have to map these values into a list of users. So we can map using user dot from JSON, and then we have to convert into a to list, and we can return these values now and make this async as well. For insert user, first of all we need id, because when we add user we not provide user id, as this will be null, so we have to manage ourselves. For that we have created id box, so we're gonna get id from id box, so integer id, so id box dot get, and here we need key, and instead of hard coding key here like this, we can make a constant value. So let's go there and create new class hive constants, and here we're gonna have a string constant current id, and now we can use this key over here. So let's just replace hive constants dot current id. We have to pass default value 0, and if it returns null, then we have to by default return 0. And then we're gonna do it plus plus, and then we can set user id to this id, and then we're gonna use user box dot put. For key we're gonna use user dot id, and for value simply dot to JSON, and make this function async, put await here. And then we also have to update our id value inside id box, so let's just do that. id box dot put. For key we're gonna use hive constants dot current key, and for id we're gonna pass id, await here, and then simply return a user instance, and that's it. For update user, it's really simple. We gonna use this user box dot put method, so simply copy over here, make this async, but as you can see this method also return a bool, and our put method doesn't return anything, it is a void. So again we're gonna wrap this in a try catch block, and simply replace this line inside a try, and then we're gonna return true, and if there is any error then we can return a false. That's it. We have override all 5 methods here. So now let's go inside the this setup di function, and here we're gonna dynamically change the database for our requirement. So let's just have a bool value here, setup hive database, and initially we'll make this true, and then we're gonna use this value inside our setup di. And if the setup hive database is true, then we want to set up a hive database, so simply copy over here. Then in the else part we have to register our skflight implementation, but if it is true then we have to replace this with our hive database implementation. So we're gonna pass here user hive database. Here we have to provide 2 boxes, user box and id box. For that we're gonna use hive.open box. I think we have to import hive first, and then we're gonna use open box method, and here we need a name for id box and user box. So let's go back to our constants file, and here we're gonna create 2 more keys, one for user box and the other one is for id box. Simply change their values as well, and that's it. Now go back, and here we're gonna use hive constants dot user box, and we have to put await here. Simply copy this and paste over here and change user box to id box. And we have to, as you remember, if I go back into this file, so we have provided these value type of the box, so we can replace we can actually copy these values from here, and inside di we have to provide over here as well. So this box will be of integer type, and that is it. If you set this value to true, then it will set up this user hive database, and if you set to false, then it will set up this skflight database, and you don't need to change anything else into your code, and this will work perfectly fine. And that is it for this video. If you have any queries, you can write down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.